Okay, so streaming has started.
Yep. I am like getting the connection now.
All right.
YouTube is like getting the connection. Copying the link, pasting it to you just as a text, and that is perfect. So basically putting it in link.
Perfect.
Okay, so that is done. So I guess we can start, right? Wait, your audio is not there, right?
All right. So
Okay.
yeah. I was like
Yeah.
kind of on mute. So yeah, let's start, right?
Right.
So hello everyone and
Perfect.
welcome to the Open Talks episode number 19. In this episode, we are going to talk about really three major interesting things. First is like Edwin Snowden. You all remember who is that, right? He said don't use a specific VPN. But why and which VPN? Let's see what he did say. Second is Google kind of abused their position of dominance in the market, specifically in the Indian market where iPhones are not kind of being sold. So what they did and I mean what they are doing right now, not did, right? So let's see what that is. And the last topic is iPhone 13 was announced recently, and it did bring portrait mode for Windows. Sorry, for videos, right? So yeah, I mean that's something new. Let's see how that is, right? So I guess let's roll the intro right away.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the first topic is Edwin Snowden did say something. He said that don't use ExpressVPN, right? So generally, like Abhiram will tell us like in detail what a VPN is, but basically, what VPN does is it creates kind of a virtual private network in which your all of the internet traffic is passed through it. So now the problem with that is your ISP doesn't know what you're accessing, but your VPN literally knows everything. Literally, VPN is kind of sending your request and getting the data and sending it back to you. So one of such VPN is ExpressVPN. You might have heard it like in many of the ads in the YouTube, and you might have been installed and used it somehow, somewhere in the time. So what Edwin Snowden told was ExpressVPN is basically spying on you. How? Um, so in the US court, uh, this statement came out that uh, the people which were working on ExpressVPN, the literal team members, were involved in some kind of project. The name was Project Rachel or something. So that project was to basically build a loophole in the VPN itself, so that UAE government can basically spy on the high profile people. right? So as you can see, like, one thing VPN was made for is privacy, and the exact thing is being basically violated, right? So yeah, I mean, Abram, like, what's your say on this?
So yeah, like the whole idea about this particular attack is basically that it is orchestrated by both UAE and ExpressVPN, and ExpressVPN did allow them to do it. That is, like they allowed a code which gives a zero-click vulnerability, right? That is basically what happens is you don't have to click for this payload to work, right? That is, it is by default run, and that is pretty bad, right? Basically saying, like, if you are basically using a VPN, then you are first of all, doing two things, right? First of all, you want to secure your location, right? That is the first thing. The second thing is you want to secure data, right? That is the two things you want to do with a VPN, right? Normally there is also multiple other things, right? I mean, in companies and all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, companies just want to secure data. So I think it's already covered, right? So the whole idea of VPN is that VPN is a tunnel from your client to the VPN network, and from the VPN network, you can connect to the internet. So let's say, like, you want to visit google.com, right? Then what happens is you first give a query to google.com, that is normally DNS query. Then from that you get the IP address of the Google, and you give a query, right? This is the step I told, like, you give a query to google.com, and from the google.com you get the reply, right? This is normally how things work. But here at VPN, right, when we have a VPN, what happens is the query, right, whatever query you're going to send to Google, you are going to send to VPN, and the VPN provider is going to send that query on your behalf to Google, right? And basically from Google they are going to get a reply to the VPN, and the VPN is going to forward back the packet to your location. So basically it is like a proxy, right? The VPN is like a proxy where uh, all your data is forwarded to a particular router, you can say, right? Router, via some protocol like IPsec, or there are different VPN protocols out there, right? OpenVPN is one of the protocols, and IPsec is another protocol which is used by enterprises, like all those people who are employees of big corporations, right? They will be using IPsec, and there are a lot of other protocols, right? IPsec requires a separate hardware which is compatible with IPsec routing, right? IPsec is a protocol which is an extension of the IP protocol. So something like, if you have a device which supports IPsec, then in theory what you can do is you can send a packet to that hardware directly. But if you want to give, like, send IPsec via a normal network, then what you have to do is you have to take an IP packet, then put the IPsec packet in the IP packet, then send that IP packet, and that is basically how the whole thing is done, right? I mean, if you are connected to some corporate VPN, normally what it happens is you make an IPsec packet, you take it and put it into a IP packet, then you send it to your corporate what do you say, VPN domain, basically. And while reaching the VPN domain, which will be a server, there the IP packet is stripped off, and IPsec packet is put into their network and routed to whatever place. So VPN can actually give you access to, you can say, local network, right? That is basically you are getting, you can say, what do you like another way of seeing a VPN is, think of when you're connecting to your local network, right? You connect your Ethernet to your Ethernet to your laptop, right? Or you can say Wi-Fi, like, that is how you connect. So instead of connecting Ethernet to your laptop, or even connecting your laptop to your Wi-Fi, what you normally do is you just connect to a VPN, and the VPN actually is a VPN server is in your home, and what happens is the VPN server gives you an IP address, like a home IP address, directly to your laptop. And what happens is that it is like a virtual Ethernet, going through the internet, directly plugging onto your laptop. So whatever you browse through now will be going through to your home OpenVPN, or whatever VPN server, and from the server it will be relayed to the internet. So if you go to whatismyipaddress.com, you will obviously see your like whatever IP address you have at home, not the IP address you are having presently. And one more thing to add is you yeah. Okay, okay, got it, got it. Yes, yes, perfect. So yeah, right. I mean, just Preet has an emergency, so Preet Patel will be joining us soon, after 5 minutes. But anyway, let me explain what a VPN is, right? So basically, your packets now go through your home network. So what happens is you can yeah, Preet's voice is dead because he has muted obviously. Okay, so basically your packets go through your home network. That means that you can access any of your uh, basically any of your local devices in your home network. And this is why normally corporates use VPN, so that um, you can access the internal documents or internal, right. Shanmugh, yeah, like I know that you are not like, I mean, Preet is not audible, right? So um, right, is there any questions like you guys have, right? Because Preet has to come back, and for that time, like, I have to anyway continue, right? Yeah, Arjun, like Preet is dead. Yeah, I know. Okay. Can you show me your server, Gaurav? Yeah, I mean, like maybe I will like send you a personal message, maybe in text, right, directly. Yeah, my voice was dead because I was like trying to contact Preet. So like the whole thing is like we are connected through another channel also. So what happens is I can actually talk to him privately if I want to, right? So yeah, right. Uh, Arjun, like, is there anything you want to? Do you have any questions or something? It's like I have to wait until Preet is back, right? Or should I go to next topic? Okay, anyway, I think he will take a lot of time, so let me go to the next topic. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I will go to Google's dominance, right? Basically, so Google, as you know, like, I mean, like, they produce Android, right? Android source code. And how Telegram earns? Telegram doesn't earn anything, right? Currently, like, they basically what they do is they basically have what was the name of the creator? Like, the name of the creator is, yeah. Anyway, I can't pronounce him, right? He's Russian, right? So what happens is he actually is a kind of a billionaire, right? He's like Elon Musk, really a billionaire. So he is actually powering the whole Telegram network uh, by his own. That is, his own pocket money. He is doing, and yeah, I mean that is it, right? Telegram is obviously going to monetize stuff because they are like, yeah, he only, right? So Telegram is obviously going to monetize stuff because he's not able to cope up with the growing demands of Telegram, right? And that for that he will be showing ads actually, like not selling any data, like showing perfect ads. I don't know when it will come, right? And if even it comes, right, like uh, we can be sure that there will be a mode which will remove the ads, right, from the Telegram as a whole, but uh, right. My voice is cracking. Wait, that means there is a problem. Let me see. Yeah, video should be back to capacity anytime soon, actually. Uh, what happened is my laptop went out of RAM. So, like, it's like crazy snapping at this point. I think I have to reduce a bit of RAM usage. Great.
Stream hasn't
Video is
started.
okay now.
My mic
Perfect.
should be up also. All right, we are back in business, right? So, Avram, do you discussed the first topic, right, with the people?
Okay, perfect. So,
Uh,
right. Okay, so let me go to the next topic, which is Google,
um,
right? Which I already went. So Google is actually asserting the dominance, right? I mean, that is really not a, you can say, a big story as of now, right? I mean, it's like we all know, right? Google will assert dominance, right? They actually you can say they need money, right? They actually need money. So what they have is a open source operating system which can be used by anyone. So what happens is even if someone wants to basically rip off any parts of Google from their operating system, actually it is possible, right? So what Google is doing is Google actually doesn't
yeah,
allow people to just make their own app store and just embed it and remove the Play Store, right? In order to get your Google certification, right, for the you can say for your, if you're a manufacturer and if you have a product that is a smartphone, then you have to basically get it certified, right? To get it certified, you can't just remove the Play Store, or just do that and just be like uh, so that is the main problem with the Google, right? Currently, uh, but you can say like the practices are like in theory Google kind of owns, right, Android, right? So uh, like only because it is open source they are not able to assert the dominance, right, in theory. But if it was closed source, I think like they would have asserted dominance. But like in the first place, will it be that this good, right? Will it be this much good, right? If they haven't open source the operating system, right? And actually Google has already replied, I think, to this, and they said like no, it actually doesn't decrease the competition, right? I mean, it decreases the competition because do you see any iOS uh, you know devices, right? You only see Android devices. So in theory there are a lot of third party Android devices compared to iOS. So I mean, that is a pretty understatement because iOS is a proprietary operating system, and uh, Google as a dominance is the problem, right? Really, actually, Samsung even tried to do their own, you can say, skin and all those things actually, and they tried to put their own suit actually. And what is like Samsung got kicked in the face from Google, right? And that is when they stopped everything and just started following, the normal practices of, Samsung, right? Normal Samsung practices. Um,
Yeah, I'm back.
so,
Can you hear me? No?
oh, you are back. Okay. Um,
Right.
perfect.
I'm like
So I'm
speaking. Can
like
you hear me?
polling, right? I'm like polling you, right? Now and then I just open Telegram and poll, right? So I can hear you, right? I mean, obviously the secondary channel is working. Is the primary channel working? Can anybody confirm that Breeze voice is audible? Perfect, perfect. So yeah, then that's good to go, right? I'm having a RAM apocalypse. The Google thing. So I will be, I'll be like fixing the RAM apocalypse.
Okay. So we discussed two topics as of now, right? Till this point. Second topic, right. So, yeah. Aviram's video is froze somehow.
Yeah. We have
Yeah,
discussed
it
two
is like
topics, but
not
we
froze,
haven't,
but
I mean,
frames are
gone through
like
your
1
perspective.
per 30 seconds.
Second topic, right? Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, who is like? Oh, yeah, right. Right. I'm like seeing the problem, right? Like I do have the RAM issue, right, as of now. So I'm like having RAM apocalypse. I think I solved the RAM apocalypse, but why is still?
All right. So, till that is
OBS
fixed, the second
OBS is
topic is
saying it's
about
good, right?
Android,
It's
right?
transferring
So you
at
all know, like, Android is
3
basically
MB per
covering
second
almost 98% of the Indian
and
market. That
dropping
is
no
more
frames also.
than half a billion devices, right? So, I mean, if anyone has
Okay,
this
Preet,
much of
like you can continue,
dominance,
right? Let's.
they will kind of try to leverage the most out of it. So, leverage in the sense they will like try to get most money, right, out of the thing. So, that's what Google wants OEMs to do. Like, see, to this point, what has happened is, you all know MIUI, right? MIUI generally has least number of Google apps and more number of its own Xiaomi apps. Similar to that, Samsung also has the least number of Google apps and more number of their own services like Samsung Pay and those things, right? So, I mean, see, the point is that those services are not bad, right? And Google services are also not bad. But see, um, giving choice to the OEM manufacturer to basically install those apps in their phone is the genuine thing to do. But what Google is doing is, don't install those apps. Install our apps, stock apps only, and don't customize the Android a lot. use this much of customizability only. So basically, what Google is trying to do is, even after having the lots of dominance over the devices, what they are trying to do is they are trying to set up some kind of software monopoly, in which they are the controller and others are the puppets, right? So that's what they are trying to do, and by doing this, they'll gain a lot of money because they are an advertising company to its heart. So yeah, that's the point. But uh, so I mean, this is what happens when you give literally 98% of the market share to one company. So I mean, people doesn't understand the importance of having Linux in this ecosystem. So yeah, I mean, even if Linux had 98% of the ecosystem of the market share, this won't happen because Linux is handled by not a centralized community. It's like a decentralized community, and it has lots of flavors and lots of developers and those things. So even if one distribution does something weird, let's say Ubuntu did similar kind of things in history with Amazon spying thing. So people kind of started switching from Ubuntu, right, to other distros. So similar to that, some things can happen. Like people will try to will start switching to another Linux distros. There is always a possibility. But see, in Android, that is not possible because of the tight ecosystem of vendors and the Android Android system. So I mean, there you go. Open source is always the way, but it's not recognized as of now, I would say. Yeah, so I guess that those are my views on that.
So
All right, yeah.
hopefully,
All right, let's see.
right. Okay, we are
Okay,
back,
that seems
and
fine. That seems fine.
so yeah, I mean, RAM apocalypse is kind of addictive.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Oh man, right. Hmm. So, Abhiram, should we move to the last topic?
Absolutely,
You are
absolutely, absolutely.
ready.
But we don't have any comments,
Okay,
right,
so
as of
you all
now.
know,
Like,
like, okay, yeah.
do we have any comments,
So
right?
the last topic is, I mean, I am on the other network, right? So I cannot open that.
Okay. Let me go to YouTube. Like, I mean, I had to
Yeah, sure,
kill the
sure, sure.
Firefox, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any messages? A lot of messages. Going to create a studio. Okay, wait. Like, I think you can continue, right? There is no chat, I think.
Okay. So the last topic is about Apple then announcement of iPhone 13. So uh, yeah. So we all know, like, it's not a big upgrade, right? What has happened is basically the
Okay,
core
there is
developers
actually
of
a
M1 chip.
one thing actually. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry.
can Google just announce that Android is closed service from now, right? I mean, like, so
I mean, see, I would say that's not possible because uh, maybe
Like
it is licensed under some
it's
kind of.
saying like Android is so much closed in the sense like closing in the sense like it is like preventing
Mhm.
people from installing any apps which are third parties now, right? I mean, like which is not blessed by Google, right? And they
I
are
see.
like preventing people from routing because you don't get DRM and all those things,
Mhm.
right? After root,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah, yeah.
banking apps doesn't work. So can't we
Right,
just
right.
say
That
that
is correct.
Android is already just closed source, right? I mean, it's like done,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We are feeling the same from, I guess, maybe 1 2 months, right? After the announcement of Android 12, we had even more restrictions. You all know, like we discussed AAB format, and we also discussed a Magisk thing, right? John Woo kind of joined Google and those things. So yeah, we all know like the freedom, only 1 2 source of freedom we had are being kind of taken away from us. So I mean that is happening, right? Eventually, it will be a closed ecosystem like iPhone, and all the freedom will be gone because that's the only way they can prevent the users from not escaping the ways. So that
Okay.
is that is the fate of Android because that's
So
the
I mean,
direction the companies are
obviously
moving in.
Google won't admit that they are like kind of closing everything. That is, they are asserting the
They are
dominance,
smart,
right?
right? They are smart. They are not closing everything at once. They'll close slowly, slowly, just like
Yeah,
this.
it's like
I
it's
mean,
like
you won't even notice.
let's say like if you make some
Yeah.
changes to a room, right? And let's ask if something like a person like did the room change, right? Then for them to say it changed, there should be significant amount of change, right? Like so.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that is the whole thing about Google, like making insignificant amount of change, but significant enough to assert their dominance slowly. And once the people already know it, it's kind of too late, right?
I mean,
So
that's the exact thing what has happened, right? If you compare Android 10 with Android 11, no major difference. Android 11 with Android 12, no major difference. Android 9 with Android 8, no major difference. But if you compare Android 7 with Android 12, you will see huge difference in the freedom. So
absolutely.
they're taking away the freedom step by step, right? You all
And
remember, like we had lots of things in past, like
when I say about
customizing.
it, like it's like not
Yeah,
just Android. It's like Windows also taking privileges from users step by step, right? Disabling stuff, not allowing
yeah,
this to
yeah.
happen when things are there, right? And making sure that in the design, people doesn't want to do this stuff, right? Because it's too much
Exactly.
painful to do it. And it's a lot of things are being done by Windows also, right? Only operating system which is still stuck with
Yes,
the old ways, that is still stuck with, you can say, the old ways of giving all power to the user, right? That is, trust the user and do whatever user says, right? Use Linux only, like they have never changed
absolutely.
that criteria. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
one person is asking, like Gaurav is asking, when I'm going to take over Magisk, right? Obviously, I'm not going to take over Magisk, right? I mean, whoever built Magisk, like who was that? Like who joined the Google security as of
John
now?
Woo, right? John Woo.
John, yeah, it's like he is pretty brilliant, right? I mean, like, see, I can't develop a Android app that good, like even just an Android app, right? Like he has not just developed an Android app, he has even developed, uh, you know, security measures which circumvent, you know, stuff, right? That is like he has made security measures which is made to circumvent other security measures and ensure that the security measures are circumvented, right? Like that takes some you can say balls to do it, right? Like
Absolutely.
so.
That
Yeah,
is
which is
next level.
better, Windows subsystem for Linux or Linux on VM? Okay, so that is kind of like, you can
Oh
say,
man.
Linux on VM obviously gives you all the privilege of Linux. Right? That is, you can do SSHFS, all those things, right? You can just transfer, like it's like a node in the network, right? I mean, you have a Linux box directly in your network. That is how it feels. But the thing is, does it have hardware acceleration? No, right? I mean, you don't get the hardware acceleration and all those sweet stuff, which you kind of need in any modern operating system to use it sanely, right? Otherwise you are going to use a terminal, then yeah, fine, right? Just a terminal, without any GUI, without hardware acceleration, I am pretty sure, like, you'll be okay with it. But if you want to use a more than terminal, then you have to use WSL 2.0 or something, which actually gives you actually hardware acceleration, using direct 3D or something, like Microsoft has their own things, right? And using that, they actually give you hardware acceleration, like complete compositing and everything, right? OpenGL, everything works actually. So that makes WSL superior, right, compared to a Linux VM. But the thing is, I would always suggest just use Linux natively, right? Because I mean, why even hog the whole memory, right, with the operating system which is pretty inefficient in handling memory, right? That is Windows. Right? You know, while you can just run, like, Linux in maybe like one
Exactly.
1 to 2 GB of RAM, like just flawlessly, right? The base system will run flawlessly, while Windows will dead drop take like 4 GB. Like, it's like it just takes it, right? I mean, I'm like talking full GUI, right? If you want to not even have a GUI, you can even fit it in 120 TB RAM. Like, I mean, that is everything, right? From a system from root to booted, completely booted. You can enter commands, right? That is how. That only takes like 128 MB of RAM. And if you are going to comment, like, if you are okay with having some lightweight desktop environment like LXD or Fluxbox or something like that, then you can even fit it in, 1 GB, right? I mean, Raspberry probably has 1 GB RAM, and we are using GUI over there, right? So it's pretty possible. I'm only using Windows. Yeah, I mean, MS Office. See, like LibreOffice is pretty powerful, right? I mean, I actually submitted today a presentation, right? And Preet kind of knows, I mean, how good it is, the presentation. And
That looks amazing. Yeah.
it's like, it's just that LibreOffice doesn't look good, right? They haven't put the buttons in perfect places, obviously, because they don't have a team like Microsoft doing it. But I am pretty sure 99, maybe like not 99, 90% of the features in MS Office is already there in LibreOffice. And you know what, like it does more, right? You can automate LibreOffice, while Microsoft Office, you can automate with macros, but not like, you can control with another program like Python, right? It's like and also ODT is an open format, so that means that anything will pretty much support it, right? If you take an ODT, it will, MS Office will support it, like Google Docs will support it, like, you know WPS Office will support it, anything will support it, right? XLS is actually proprietary, so that means your layout will be messed up, the one, you know immediately as you kind of copy and paste it to another thing. The major thing is, like, when you think about all these things, right? It's your preference, right? If you really want MS Office, yeah, then you have to use Windows, and that there is not another way. But when you think about just MS Office, Windows in a VM pretty much looks you know possible, right? It's not like MS Office is going to use any hardware acceleration after all, right? By the way,
That
LibreOffice
is
do,
correct.
right? LibreOffice do use hardware acceleration. It will use GPU to plot and all those things, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that
which
does.
which MS Office has never caught up to yet, right?
Right, right, right. Yep.
I don't know if there is some enterprise
That is
version where,
interesting.
they do have the GPU support. It's like,
Yeah.
clients are like, man, that will be
Right,
okay, right?
right, right. I see.
Yeah. They already have a pretty good cloth CPUs. They'll be fine.
Yep, yep. Correct. So, yeah, I mean, did you notice, like, in the iPhone, this time there is no upgrades, right? I mean, CPU is same, almost same, right? the performance is almost same. Only the GPU has improved. So I mean, I saw the video of Gary Sims, right? In that he told this that maybe Qualcomm has hired the core developers of M1 chip, right? And now the all magic is gone with that in the hands of Qualcomm. So I mean that can be seen in this kind of this
Uh,
iPhone 13, right?
it can
In
be,
which
two ways, right?
yeah
See.
yeah
Intel,
yeah
right? Intel has been just stagnant for years until AMD came up.
yes
It's just that M1 has
I
so
see
much lead that they are like confident that no
ah
one will catch up,
right
right?
yeah
They might be
it is
having a
kind of
advanced
correct.
model already, but they are not releasing so
Yeah,
that they keep the gaps smaller, right? So that the competition never knows
I
that
see.
what they are capable of. The
Yes,
moment they are going to
that
drop
could be
a
one of the reasons.
faster one, they are going to drop a very fast one. You know, to a point where
I see.
it's like a contingency plan, right? See, like if you already say
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, this is the
yeah.
theoretical performance you can achieve. See, like not theoretical, right?
Right,
Practical
right.
performance you can achieve, right? Then it's like practical,
Yeah,
right? I mean, people know that this is achievable, like why and how and reverse engineer, right? Obviously,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Absolutely correct.
So it's like easy, right? Like if you just give the okay, like 10 times performance of the M1, right? Already.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I see.
right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Windows for MS of see, like Windows, there is actually a version
Hmm.
called actually, what do you call like a stripped down version of Windows, if I'm correct, which doesn't have Windows Update or anything. Like it's just
That
so
is
stripped
Windows
down.
S, right?
No. Not
Yeah.
from Microsoft, right? It's like
Okay. Oh, okay.
it's
That is
like a
Windows 10 Lite, I guess.
third party version actually. Third party. Uh, let's see, right? I mean, I'm just searching for it. Uh,
Yeah.
Okay, it is not. I'm not able to find. It started with A, right? It started with A actually. That build, right? So what happened is like it stripped off Cortana, it stripped off any Microsoft proprietary stuff, it stripped off anything which actually causes security vulnerabilities, and
Yeah.
at last the RAM usage was around 1 GB, right? For Microsoft operating system, like with full exe support without any kind of the Metro app rubbish, right? Like Metro app is rubbish, right?
I
Already,
see.
like
I see.
it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole,
They are absolutely.
you can say, memory sucking, you know parasites, you can say. It's like I don't know even why it exists, right? Like movie and TV app, right? It just takes around solid 300 to 400 MB, right? Just solid, just takes it. I mean, for what? For just giving you
Yep.
pause,
Yep.
play, and maybe like next previous. I mean, MB we can do it in 10 MB set or less, right? And VLC can do it in around 100 MBs, right? Any chance in
Yeah, yeah.
seeing
Exactly.
you guys online in tax forums? Arjun is asking. Oh man. Oh man, right. I mean, like we are online in tax forums only, right? I have my work. Uh, Preet has his own work, right? I mean, now uh, he's like in college, right? And that literally makes his time to nearly like zero, right? Free time. So even he coming from a podcast is pretty much, you can say, uh, squeezing, right? Squeezing the time, right? Really squeezing the time. So yeah, pretty are still here, right?
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know the name of that thing, right? We can continue, right? If I get it, I will like interrupt and tell, right?
Right, right. Sure. So I mean, with those small updates in the CPU and somewhat huge updates in the Pro version of the 13 in the GPU, we have one new feature which is portrait mode. And I mean, the portrait mode itself is not new, but in videos it is new. So I think no other phone supports portrait mode videos, right? As of now.
No, it does not support. Like no one is
Yeah,
supporting.
the and the only reason for that is maybe limitation of the sensor, right?
Not really, right? I mean, think about it. Like
Okay,
portrait mode is
okay.
software, right? So
Hmm.
really, like it's all software.
I
Like
see.
the camera is doing
I
nothing,
see.
right? The camera is like
Oh
the
shit, shit,
data
shit.
is coming,
Yeah,
right?
I kind of. Oh man, right, right, right. Got it. Yeah.
So the limitation
So
should
it
be
should be.
something with the GPU, right? Like
Hmm, I see. Yeah. So exactly, right, right. So this is why I am like hearing the reports that GPU has been upgraded by a huge margin in this version of iPhone. So yeah, that explains, right? So I mean that is pretty good. Like I suppose that Google is also coming up with its own TPU enabled sub I mean CPU, right? So that will be interesting to see like see the these things can be the portrait mode can be achieved via image processing and or maybe achieved via some kind of machine learning techniques. So if Google uses machine learning techniques inside its own TPU, then they don't have to supply huge powerful GPU, right? So it will be like really interesting to see. Like the thing is that see, if Apple is implementing something, other companies will like try their you know try their best to do the same thing. And Google will be the first one because they are like software giant, right? So then maybe Samsung will be the second one. So yeah, then the other manufacturers will follow it. So that will be like
so,
interesting to see. Like
just saying. Actually, the
yeah,
thing which we are talking about, that is the Windows with stripped down, everything stripped down, right? It is called Windows AME release, right? I mean, like it's like
oh I see.
AME is like a third party release where not really Microsoft, right? It's a third party, right? They kind of stripped down everything, delete, even the start actually, right? And replace it with the open source version,
I
right?
see.
Because the Cortana is so integrated into start menu that to remove Cortana, you literally have to just rip off start menu, right? Like it has been replaced with something which is more functional than Windows start menu, right? And yeah, I mean, there you go, right? I have already posted the link in the chat.
Yeah,
So hopefully, if anyone wants to, right, maybe like, if you are seeing the recording, maybe enable the live chat, like uh, preview or something, you have that button, right? So then you'll be seeing the link in the, yeah, chat. So there you go.
perfect.
Oh,
Um, do
okay,
we have any
Brace.
questions in the chat again?
So checking OpenTalks group. Okay. Yeah, right. I mean, we actually do have a question from some guy, which is actually uh,
Yeah, yeah,
in Tux, actually. Like, I'm just sending you in. You can, like,
yeah, sure.
I'm also just going to load up in my browser, which will take a little bit of time. Uh, okay, so they like, can you load that in the, like, in Chrome, and maybe like show to people, screen share it.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So yeah, I mean, this question, right? When you think about it, DDR4 versus DDR5, right? Why the latency is high?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so actually, it's not the latency being high, right? See, like when you think about the processor and the memory, right? They should actually match in the clock speed in the sense, like processor has to not wait for the memory to give the data, right? Obviously, and also memory shouldn't be like sitting there idle for the CPU also, right? That means you have to give more requests to the RAM, right? And CPU has to be able to give more requests to the RAM, right? Obviously, right? Because if the CPU is clocked low, right, um, then pretty much you can do it, right? Like I think DDR5 the gigahertz range is around 4 to 5 gigahertz, right? If I'm correct. DDR5 RAM speeds. Let's see. Um, so DDR5. Let's see. Um, yeah. So yeah, it can have around from 3600 to 4000, right? Megahertz. So yeah, I was right. Around 4 gigahertz it is, right? So
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, think about your CPU, right? CPUs are like 4.8 gigahertz mainly, right? Like when you think about it, maximum, right? Nowadays, 4.8, 4.5, 4.2, like no one hits 5, right? Uh, when you think about it, it's like the RAM speeds are pretty much, uh, very close to CPU speeds now, right? In old days, it was not the case. You know that the RAM is double data rate. So that means if you are saying 4 gigahertz memory, right, it is actually clocked at the half of it,
Yeah.
right? Like actually clocked at 2
I see.
gigahertz, right?
I see.
And 4 gigahertz is the effective clock speed. When you think about all the things like double data rate means that you can get the data at high and low, right? That is high clock and low clock. You can get the data, right? So that is how it works.
Right.
Um,
Right away.
Right. So the latency should be obviously low, right, compared to DDR4, right? DDR5's latency should be obviously low because like when you think about it, latency is basically how much time the RAM takes to get the data from the memory cells to your CPU, right? That is the whole idea of latency, right? And latency should be obviously low because when you think about it, the RAM is having higher clock speed, so 1 by frequency will give you uh, the latency, right? That is how things work, right? The latency the CPU has to wait for. And it is also, there are a lot of things to consider, right? I mean, RAM timings and all those things. I'm not going to that, right? So currently DDR5 might not be having a good RAM timings, right? Not yet, right? Because it is like the beginning of the whole DDR5, right? So
Yes.
that may be the reason why DDR5 is not having that much of a performance boost.
Correct. Correct.
But I actually think that even the DDR3, right, high ends were actually performing way good than DDR4 at first when the DDR4 came out. It came out like really long back, right? DDR4, right? I mean, around 6 years it is, 6 or 7 years, I think
Oh man,
it
that's
is,
a
right?
huge distance.
So it's like a DDR2 to DDR3. It was like a really big, like like it came very fast, right? That is how it worked. But DDR3 to DDR4 took a very long time, right? I mean, and DDR4 to I mean, DDR to DDR2 actually took a very short time. DDR2 to DDR3 took a longer time, and DDR3 to DDR4 took a very long time, and 4 to DDR5 is like going to take like pretty much very long time, right? Like right now, AMD is not yet released any CPUs which actually support DDR5 and as well as Intel, right?
Oh, I
Uh,
see. I see.
it's already in phones actually, but not in PCs yet. Um,
Okay.
so
Okay.
Gaurav, there is a script on GitHub to debloat Windows from PowerShell. Actually, AMA release you can actually run this script on any working Windows also, and they will like debloat everything. Actually, the thing is this is not deblotting. This is removing everything. Like, even the start menu. Like, they are removing everything which ties any telemetry to Microsoft, right? It's not like blot, right? I mean, it's like like even removing the core features and replacing it, because it's having telemetry and using inefficient methods, right? I have personally used AME, right? See, like dblock doesn't actually remove micro Windows Update. I mean, does it remove? No, right? Right, like
It kind of disables it.
it kind of disables it. That's all right. Here, actually,
Yep.
even the settings app is not even there, right? Settings app is not there because no Metro apps, right? It's like
Right,
old
right.
control panel, right? We are back to the age-old control panel, which does everything what the settings app can. I mean, pretty much
I
nothing
see.
I have seen, you know, like maybe like changing color theme and all those things, maybe not, right? But all the actual critical stuff, right? You can actually do it, and even at the color theme, actually, I think you can right click and click on personalize, right? So most probably they should have forked Windows 8.1 color theme chooser, right? Which actually was in control panel, right? Like to there, right? Arjun has asked a question: why Windows 11 won't
Right.
support Ryzen 1? It has TPM 2. Actually, see, TPM, right? There are two types of TPM, right? Hardware TPM and software TPM, right? We are talking software TPM with Ryzen 1, right? That is, it is not in the hardware. Like, the TPM is a hardware, right? Normally. And why it needs to be hardware is because, see, when you want to trust something, you want to have it in a hardware, because otherwise the memory is accessible by the softwares, then you're doomed, right? Hardware, then obviously, even if the whole memory is accessible, you can't talk to hardware without proving that your system is not compromised. That's the whole idea of TPM, right? So what happens is that Microsoft is like, you know not going to support any software TPM. So yeah, like it's dead, right? uh, the thing is, actually Intel has implemented TPM 2.0 in their hardware for a very long time, right? It is mainly because Windows,
Right,
for
right.
the first time, they were like business class uh, products, right? I mean, Ryzen, it was like first they are going to try to take the Ryzen to desktop market. Then only they went to server market, right? Where the enterprise customers are. So it was like, at first the TPM and all those things didn't make any sense for AMD to invest into, most probably, right? Uh, because at last people, back then never cared about TPM, right? They cared only about performance and what is on table, right? And Intel was like, they are putting out the icing on the cake because they already have the chips and everything ready. They just have to, give extra features, right, to the customers. So I think that is why AMD's process were lacking before Intel's, but I am pretty sure that now that is fixed up, right? Now the lagging is no more, right? With the newer generation process being even faster at single thread compared to Intel,
Perfect.
right? Okay, why Windows 11? Okay, so control panel best I hate. Yeah, like I mean, everyone. I think everyone hates settings, right? Settings doesn't make sense even. Like when you want to find something, you are going to search in the settings. Like you are not going to literally click on some buttons and find it. The control panel was pretty much, you can say, okay, user settings. Then you have like user and all those things, right? You click on that thing link, then you get into user settings. Like boom, right? The other one is like you click into some, like even you can't remember that, right? See, the other thing you can remember, right? You user account control, right? That is
Exactly.
the whole thing. Here is like go open settings, look for something which looks like a user, click on it, maybe like find some sidebar, right, where some login and those kind of things are, then click on it. Like that is how it works. um, See, discrete TPM, like see, BIOS is emulating the TPM, right? It's not like it is hardware TPM, right? See, BIOS is emulating TPM doesn't mean that it's still hardware, right? Like if it is not hardware, then what happens is the memory, right? I mean, BIOS resides where, right? BIOS resides wrong, right? When your computer boots up, it copies some parts of the BIOS to the RAM, and that is how actually the BIOS gets executed, right? And from that, actually, the OS gets executed. So software DPM can be implemented like a hardware, but by the BIOS, right? And BIOS can actually show it like a hardware, right? In theory. And what happens is, still the memory, like wherever the whatever keys it is holding, it's all kept in RAM only, right? It's not having a discrete storage which is protected totally, right? So what happens is, Windows has found out a way to kind of find out, is it really a hardware or not, right? So they have found out a way to find out that it's a software only, right? It's still software, even though it's claiming to be hardware. So they have disabled it, right? So that is how it works, right? I mean,
Yeah.
still I'm pretty sure that they can use the TPM, right? It's just that they are choosing to not use, right? It's like, you have we have already discussed about a thing called, in Samsung's, basically they are stopping the casting support to any Android TV, right? It only supports Samsung TVs. By the way, it's not Android, it's Dyson, right? Samsung TVs. So it's like the operating system designed by Google, which inbuilt has the casting support, being disabled the cast support. I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's
I
like
see.
mind blowing, right? They put effort into disabling something which already code exists for the platform, right? So this is how actually Microsoft also did, right? I mean, you can show a pop up. Okay, see, it says having a software-based TPM. It's not safe to use it, but still, if you want to, you
Yeah.
can. Like maybe give a yes or no. Like, do you want to proceed? And maybe like highlight, maybe like you don't want to proceed, right? Yes, and no will be you will be want to proceed, right? That is how they will be placing it, and yes will be like green and like projected, and no will be like a link kind of like on the side. That is how they do it, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That is correct.
I guess every question is now exhausted, right? No more questions actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, it was a nice discussion today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, the
Yeah.
most person who actually asked question is Gaurav and Arjun. So yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
thanks guys for actually asking the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even
Absolutely.
even Shanmugh was here, right? Um, right.
Okay.
So that is a new
Okay.
newcomer, right? I mean, to the
Yeah.
chat.
Welcome.
So yeah, there you go.
Most welcome.
I mean, obviously, if you are still watching, you can still ask questions, right? I mean, it's like an open discussion, not really.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Right. I guess today's session we can wrap it up, right? Think.
Right. 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 All right. So I guess, like, if you like the video, please do uh, click on thumbs up, and do share it with your techie friends. They might like it. And leave us a comment if you have any questions or something, or if you want any assistance, go to tuxforums.com and ask the doubts there also, right? So like we'll come every Sunday between 9 to 10 p.m, anywhere like in between that time we'll be live. So yeah guys, bye everyone.
Bye bye.